Hi, I'm Austin.
I'm Alex,
You're listening to One Last Breath, an autopsy of awful albums.
where we discuss controversial, bizarre, divisive, and downright abysmal albums. In today's episode, we'll be discussing the 8th album, Diabolus and Musica, by American thrash metal juggernauts, Slayer.
Fucking Slayer!
Fucking Slayer. Slayer was formed in 1981 by guitarist Kerry King and Jeff Hanneman, drummer Dave Lombardo, and bassist and vocalist Tom Araya.
I think Slayer is the thrash band I know the most members of by name. Because I recognize all four of those fucking names.
Okay, yeah.
I recognize, let's see, there's Lars, and Kirk, and James.
Mm-hmm. And
Cliff Burton. Okay, so I recognize every member of...
Now Rob Trujillo.
I don't know who that is.
Or Trujillo.
Trujillo. I don't know the fucking
He played in, like, Suicidal Tendencies.
Oh, so just like Thundercat?
Yeah, but he's before Thundercat. Can you name a member of Anthrax? You got him.
Scott.
Bruh.
Give me a first name.
Scott.
Scott Anthrax.
Yes. Scott Ian.
Scott
Remember
Ian.
Bald dude, long.
Yeah, Scott Ian. He has the fucking braided beard.
Probably the only band where the rhythm guitarist is the member that most people know.
He's not the vocalist?
No, Joey Belladonna's the vocalist.
Who?
Joey Belladonna.
That's not a real name.
But
And then
Megadeth's had too many fucking members.
I know Megadave and
I could
the
name
other guitarist who I fucking kept talking
Marty
about.
Friedman.
Marty Friedman.
Yeah, I could name their entire classic lineup, but he's had too many fucking
But Slayer?
members.
I can't name the members of Slayer, but I know them all.
You know them all.
I know them all. I know Kerry King and Tom. I was in a Facebook group with Tom Araya's daughter once.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that.
She was not very nice.
Interesting. And I'm going to go ahead and correct you. I, all my life, have also said Tom Araya, but it's actually Tom Araya.
Tom Araya Carey.
Tom Araya Carey. Bro. But yeah, I was just going to say that so nobody is like, oh my god, you're saying it wrong.
I'm going to keep saying Tom Araya. You can't fucking stop me.
Alright, well.
I'm going to say the name more.
We'll be the duality of men.
The duality of Araya.
Araya. But, yeah, they were formed in Huntington Park, California. Inspired musically by the likes of Judas Priest, Black Sabbath, Iron Maiden, and Venom, they started out playing covers of those artists at parties and clubs around Southern Cal. Or SoCal.
Southern Cal.
SoCal. They took cue from Venom and Merciful Fate, mostly with their satanic imagery, often wearing makeup and spiked jewelry and employing pentagrams.
Yeah, I can see a little bit of Merciful Fate influence now that you mention it.
Yeah.
I haven't listened to a lot of Merciful Fate, but they have one song called Welcome Home that's pretty sick.
Merciful Fate is...
It's King Crimson, right?
King Diamond?
King Diamond.
Close enough.
It's the King Diamond band, though, right?
Yeah, King Diamond.
I've listened to more of King Diamond's solo stuff, weirdly enough.
I used to be in that camp, too. I'm not going to say I'm, like, into Merciful Fate. I've only listened to one of their albums, not even Melissa, which is I've listened to their first album. It has, like, a fucking demon coming out of hell on the front.
Fun fact about the host of this podcast, we're not black metal guys.
I wouldn't say I'm a black metal guy, but I've started to like more black metal.
I like first wave black metal.
So Merciful Fate.
Yeah, but like...
And, Venom kinda. I love Venom.
We
Venom's
listen to
sick.
a lot of shit. We don't listen to a lot of black metal.
Yeah, like I said, I've gotten into it a little more recently, but I still, like... I don't know. I really like Mayhem. Mayhem is good.
Mayhem is good.
But stuff like... I haven't gotten into Immortal. Dark Throne I've recently kind of gotten into, but a lot of it's just, a lot of black metal is like something that I have to listen to it like 5 or 6 times to actually be like, okay, I vibe with this.
Yeah, it's like Doom. It's like, I'm not a big Doom
guy.
guy.
I don't know. I know like the bigger bands of Doom, but not many actual songs. Like I haven't listened to a lot of it. A lot of it kind of bores me.
I've listened to parts of Dope Smoker.
I've tried to listen to it. That shit.
I'm not going to listen to Dope Smoker. Listen, we're not really metal guys. No, we listen to metal.
Don't say that.
No, listen, we listen to metal. We don't listen to metal the way that metal guys listen to metal. Metal guys listen to Doom. Metal guys listen to all black metal.
Yeah.
We're not like, we don't listen to the toxic metal genres.
There's different flavors. I don't know. I listen to my main favorites would be easily death and thrash, and then when you go into core genres, metalcore.
I'm a core guy.
That's that's what we grew up on.
We grew up on a lot of core. We played in a shitty core band.
Yeah, but I don't know. I've been really into a bunch of death metal and thrash lately. And
I like tech death. I don't listen to enough death or thrash. I need to get back into my metal because I listened to a lot of thrash in high school.
Yeah.
Like I recognize a lot of the tracks from this album just from listening to a ton of thrash in high school.
Yeah. Listen to fucking German thrash. That's the
I
shit.
don't believe in Germany.
Creator, Destruction, Sodom.
Iced Earth?
I don't know. I think they're...
Is Iced Earth thrash? Or are they
are. I think they're like Swedish or something, though.
Remember when we got really into power metal?
Yeah. Power metal's another one that I'm kind of... Like, power metal, black metal, I'm kind of like entry level with, I would say. And then, yeah, doom metal, I know jack shit about. But either way.
This isn't a metal genre podcast.
It could be.
We used to be genre guys. We're not genre guys anymore.
But yeah, for me, with Slayer, like, I'd say they are, or at least their first album was like literally just you take Venom and Merciful Fate and combine them, and that's Show No Mercy.
Yeah.
It's like it very leans heavily into cues from both of those bands, which I think is pretty cool. But because they're both technically like first wave like proto black metal, but in very different ways.
Yeah.
But yeah, so satanic imagery, makeup, spike jewelry, using pentagrams and inverted crosses in their imagery.
Inverted caucus.
Inverted caucus. After these couple of beginning years for the band, they were invited to open for the band, you love this name, Bitch.
Bitch.
Bro, my band is Bitch.
Did you listen to Bitch?
I haven't. I want to, because they seem like something I would like very early, like heavy metal kind of thrash type stuff. They were the first band signed to Metal Blade ever.
Oh shit.
Yeah, which that ties right into what I'm about to say. They opened for them at the Woodstock Club in Anaheim, California, and they had recently become the first band to sign to the new label Metal Blade Records. And the founder of Metal Blade, Brian Slagle, was in attendance of the concert. He was impressed with what he saw from Slayer, and he met them backstage to ask the band to record an original song for Metal Blade's upcoming 3rd edition of their compilation series, Metal Massacre. Which...
Fucking Slayer.
The first Metal Massacre was... Metallica was on it, and that's like their big break. Hit the Lights was on there from Metallica.
So to get a big break, you just have to...
Back in the day, yeah.
Be lucky.
Back in the day, it was getting on fucking... Metal Blade, obviously.
Blade Metal.
Blade Metal.
Blattle Maid.
Blattle Maiden. Of course, all the fucking old school metal labels are escaping me, but they would all have those compilations of their artists and.
Rise Records brought that back in the mid-2000s.
Yeah, all those
and
Rise.
It was really cool.
Fearless.
Except Lost Prophets was on one of them.
Oh no.
Which to date this episode, Ian Watkins got stabbed, and it's so fucking funny.
Fuck yeah.
It's so fucking funny.
I hope he survives.
That's the last time we'll ever mention him on this podcast.
Yeah. I hope he survives and they fucking do it again as soon as he goes back to prison. And he just perpetually does that for the rest of his life. But yeah, all those old school metal labels would have those compilations and, people listen to them, and the shit that really stood out were the bands that kind of would gain some traction, which is exactly what happened to Slayer. Their song, Aggressive Perfector, was recorded for the compilation, and the song garnered the band a very big cult following, which led Slagle to sign Slayer. They self-financed their debut album, combining the funds from Tom Araya's savings earned as a respiratory therapist, as well...
Wait, he was a fucking what?
Yeah, a respiratory therapist. Imagine being one of his fucking clients. That would be crazy.
It's like how, the guy that plays Captain America...
Chris Evans,
his dad is a dentist.
You
know, seen that there was a post where someone's like, yeah, I was at my dentist's office and just talking about the Marvel movies. And the dentist was like, yeah, my son's in those. And
yeah,
I
thought,
what
an extra or something?
An extra. Nope.
Yeah.
Dr. Evans.
That's crazy. Huh. But yeah, so his savings as a respiratory therapist, as well as money borrowed from Kerry King's father. The result was Show No Mercy, which was released on December 3rd of 1983. The DIY low budget kind of proved to be challenging, because Dave Lombardo later recalled that the engineer had trouble getting the right mix with the toms and cymbals due to them being too loud, so they had to record them separately.
Tom is pretty loud.
Tom. Yeah. I was like, wait. I was about to say, like, Tom DeLonge being funny.
Tom DeLonge is loud.
Yeah.
He's a loud man. I
There's
bet
a
they had
lot
a
of-
problem getting... There's a lot of vocals named Toms.
There's a lot of loud Toms.
A lot of Toms. If your name's Tom, shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up, Tom. I fucked Tom.
Oh, no.
But yeah, so they had to mix the toms and simples or record them separately, which I could imagine was pretty fucking wild. Like,
Yeah, I bet that was really annoying
yeah,
as the drummer.
yeah.
I'm gonna see if Race can do that.
Probably not. No, no, he probably could. But in turn, Lombardo has said that Show No Mercy was his least favorite Slayer album. He thinks the songwriting is great, obviously, but the unconventional recording method made for what he feels is his worst performance on a record, which, I mean...
Yeah, it seems fucking... It's
Yeah.
like if...
I mean, I got no complaints about it, but I could see...
That's like if you asked a guitarist to record two of their strings separately.
Yeah. It's like, today we're recording top and bottom, and then tomorrow we'll do the three middle ones. Like,
Like, okay.
like, alright.
Like, that would be fine for, like, a finger... Like, there are some ways that you could... Like, if you're playing chords...
Yeah. It's like, you're just inventing new chords with two strings.
Sorry, that was a visual joke.
That was a visual gag ensues.
Sorry, I had a visual gag. My bad. I forgot this was a recorded medium.
It was a great visual gag.
Thank you.
But Show No Mercy was actually met with polarizing reviews upon release, as I mean, really was the case with the majority of heavy music and with the formative years of metal and punk. Like,
Yeah, the formative years of any genre, really.
yeah, but especially metal and punk, like it kind of was like, oh, this music's for Neanderthals that are fucking stupid.
And listen, this music is for Neanderthals that are fucking stupid.
I am a stupid Neanderthal.
Booga booga.
But, it has obviously, however, gone on to be considered a classic and a very, very important release in the progression of metal and extreme metal.
But weirdly enough, not their most important album.
Yeah, definitely not.
That would
But
be the album we're talking about today.
but spoiler alert, this is actually probably at least top 3 Slayer albums for me. Is Show No Mercy.
Oh, did you do a top Slayer album?
I did not, but
I was about to say.
I'll go ahead and say, like, I love fucking Show No Mercy. It's amazing.
Because I'm gonna go ahead and spoil it. I didn't get any fucking lyrics in this album, so I figured
No.
I figured you were gonna do something cool like that. I was like, I don't listen. I've listened to 2 Slayer albums, and it's this and Raining Blood.
Well, I can give a top 3. I'm not going to rank all their albums, but yeah, definitely Rain and Blood, Show No Mercy, and Seasons in the Abyss are my top 3.
Okay, you heard it here, folks. You turn off the podcast. This doesn't make it in the top 3.
But yeah, but I mean, honestly, you can't. In my opinion, you can't really go wrong with any of their albums. I think they're all good to.
It's all fucking Slayer.
It's all good to amazing to me, but and Show No Mercy actually became Metal Blade's highest selling release. The label was used to selling around 5,000 copies on average, but Show No Mercy ended up selling around 20,000 copies in the U.S. and around 15,000 copies overseas.
What year was this?
83.
20,000 copies in 83? That's pretty good.
For a label that was at this point
For a
like
brand new label.
I think it's started in 82.
So
So
signed 2 bands, Slayer and Bitch.
yeah, I mean, yeah, there was others, but like fucking
None of them were Slayer or Bitch.
yeah, exactly. That's just so
I
funny
really,
to me.
I
Just
really
bitch.
want a copy of the flyer for the Slayer show where they open for Bitch, because I bet it just says Slayer and then right underneath it Bitch.
Well, probably bitch
So
would be
just
at the top if Slayer.
No, because you do it in order of... You put the biggest band at the bottom.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
thinking like a marquee. Like if it was
No,
like a
yeah,
marquee
yeah.
poster, it's like Slayer Bitch.
Fucking Jesse Pinkman, what's your favorite band?
Fucking Slayer Bitch.
Slayer, bitch. Oh yeah, that's just so funny to me. It's just like, damn, they were really like, let's name our band Bitch. Like, okay. But the success of Show No Mercy prompted Slagle to get Slayer back in the studio to record an EP. This EP was Haunting the Chapel, released in an unspecified day in June of 1984. Haunting the Chapel was considered a even more major evolution for the band, where Show No Mercy paid very obvious homage to the new wave of British heavy metal. Haunting the Chapel pretty much dropped that aspect, instead pumping up the aggression and intensity to 100. 100.
100.
But yeah,
okay.
that's the EP that Chemical Warfare is on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's just a 3-song EP. But yeah, good shit. And out of the 3 songs featured on the EP, Chemical Warfare is the most revolutionary. The main use for this was the use of very fast double bass drumming. The drumming for the EP, just like Show No Mercy, proved to be very difficult. However, this time the obstacle was the fact that the studio had no carpet. So, recording drums on concrete was obviously not ideal, especially for Chemical Warfare due to its very fast pace. Roadie Gene Hoglan, which, do you recognize that name?
I do, but I don't know from where.
Fucking Death, Metalocalypse.
Okay. Kind of a big deal.
Yeah, fucking
Slayer.
Fucking Slayer. No, he never actually played in them. He has toured with Testament.
What a guy.
I want to say Exodus, but I don't think that's right. Death Angel was like the first band he was in. He's
Okay.
been in a bunch of fucking bands.
Yeah.
He's a very, very fucking good drummer. Like, which I actually met him one time.
Oh, yeah.
Me and Race met him whenever Anthrax and Testament came here a few years ago. He was drumming for Testament at the time, and he was just chilling out back in fucking flip-flops. He drummed in flip-flops for the show, and he was just smoking a cigarette. And obviously our buddy Race, he's a drummer, and that's like, Gene Hoglan's like one of his favorites ever, and he was like, dude, we have to go talk to him. We were just like, what's up, dude? Good show. And he was cool as shit.
Hell yeah.
But yeah.
Are you going to tell me that he sat there and held the drums in place?
Yes.
God fucking damn it!
Yes, he did. So yeah, he had to hold the drums in place so they wouldn't slip around on the fucking hardwood floor, or concrete, hardwood, whatever the fuck it
How
was
can he
for.
still hear the drum?
I don't fucking know. I mean, he's a very tall dude, so he probably wasn't like right at the kick drum. But he figured that it would make it way faster to get the drums recorded if Lombardo used double bass, a technique which Lombardo had never used before. Hoglan, I accidentally fucking put Hogan. Hulk Hogan added the double bass to Lombardo's kit, gave him some tips, and the rest is fucking history.
You're telling me that Slayer didn't start with double... I guess double bass was new.
Yeah, I mean...
At that point.
For metal and shit like that, because I mean, in jazz, it had been a thing for a while, but yeah, for... I think the first metal song to ever use double bass was Exciter by Judas Priest.
Are you sure it wasn't something on Attila?
Ah, shit, who fucking knows? But I think Exciter, I want to say maybe Dissident Aggressor, which was on the album before Stained Class, which was what Exciter was on for Judas Priest, had double bass. But
Yeah.
I don't know, which Exciter is a fucking amazing song. That's one of my
Priest
favorite.
is also not a band I've gotten into. I need to.
Oh, I love Judas Priest. I listen to Stained Class. That's my favorite album by them.
Okay.
I'd say the one with Breaking the Law on it, fucking, I forget what the fuck it's called. Highly fucking overrated in my opinion. Don't start with that. That's what most people tell you to start with. It's pretty much just like a step above AC/DC. So
Oh, gross.
I don't think you'll like it.
I don't like AC/DC. That's another... you're getting a lot of fucking Austin lore this episode.
Austin lore. You're welcome for that. But the band released a live album, Live Undead, on November 16th of 84. It featured, of course, tracks from Show No Mercy and Haunting the Chapel, but it added the updated aggression that Haunting the Chapel brought to the Show No Mercy tracks. So a lot of them were performed, or all of them were performed like way faster, way like rougher vocals from Tom Araya on all the tracks. So it was kind of bringing their style, their new up and coming style with that. And then their next album, Hell Awaits, came in March of 85. This time around, Slagle provided the budget for the album, allowing the band to work with an all-professional recording team. The band's sophomore album continued the trend of upping the ante in terms of heaviness and extremity. The songs were longer and more progressive than before, with 3 of the tracks being around 6 minutes long, which pretty unusual for Slayer. They're kind of a band that
They're kind of short and sweet.
sticks around the like 4.5 minutes at the most mark for most of their songs.
Yeah, I think every song on this album's pretty short.
Yeah, I think the longest is around like 4.5, maybe 5 minutes, if even.
Yeah, which is long for... It's not even long for a thrash song, because Metallica...
Yeah.
Because Metallica... If it wasn't for Metallica and Anthrax, that would be long or Metallica
Megadeth.
and Megadeth. That'd be pretty long for a thrash song.
Yeah, and some other bands, but...
But mostly those guys are just like, we're going to a 13-minute song that was mostly acoustic guitar.
Fuck yeah.
Well, that's Metallica. Megadeth is just like, what if I just played the hardest shit you've ever heard for 13 minutes?
Hello, me. The songs being longer and more progressive was due to the influence of King Diamond, who the band were super into at the time. And this progressive nature of songwriting, combined with the intensity, was another major step toward the development of extreme metal. Hello Waits also actually received positive reviews from critics who, mostly up until this point, hadn't really taken the band seriously. And although exact sales are unknown, Slagle estimates Hello Waits has sold over 1 million copies worldwide, which is pretty crazy. And Hello Waits, it's good too, in my opinion, obviously, but I don't know, most people prefer it to Show No Mercy, but obviously I disagree. I like Show No Mercy a lot better. Hello Waits is good, though. This hype that Slayer was building caused Slagle to realize that the band were in a position to really hit it big and needed to seize the opportunity while it was present. He communicated with several record labels, among them being Rick Rubin and Russell Simmons' Def Jam. Slagle was reluctant in the label's interest to sign Slayer due to them obviously being a hip-hop label. But Dave Lombardo, after being made aware of Def Jam's interest, got in touch with Rick Rubin and convinced Rubin to attend one of the band's concerts along with photographer Glennie Friedman. And Friedman had actually produced Suicidal Tendencies' debut album, which featured their hit song Institutionalize. Which,
that was their debut album?
Yeah. Which,
what the fuck?
Which Tom Araya had actually had a guest appearance in the music video for the song.
I've never watched the music video for Institutionalized.
I've seen it, but it's been a while, and
I also don't really know what Tom Araya looks like. He kind of looks like a guy, right?
I mean, he has really long, curly hair. That's about the big...
He kind of looks like a Brazilian guy?
He's Chilean.
Oh, he's Chilean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. Looks like a Chilean guy with really long hair.
He's just chilling.
He's just chilling. He's a chilling Chilean. Yeah, I thought that was a pretty interesting fact. I never fucking knew that.
Yeah.
Rubin later ended up speaking to the band in person and persuaded them to join Def Jam. Slagle added credibility to Rubin, saying he was by far the most passionate of all the label representatives. And that showed with their upcoming album, because they ended up signing to Def Jam and released their magnum opus, Rain and Blood, on October 7th of 1986.
Finally, we're at their magnum opus. It's all downhill from here, boys.
Bruh. Rain and Blood was a continuation of the signature sound that they had been crafting on their last two releases, but this time Extremity was taken to the absolute max. The album clocks in at right under 29 minutes and is played at 220 BPM on average, which is fucking insane. About the short runtime, Jeff Hanneman later said that the band were listening to Metallica and Megadeth at the time and found the repetition of the guitar riffs tiring. Saying, if we do a verse 2 or 3 times, we're already bored with it, so we weren't trying to make the song shorter. That's just what we were into. Which, I don't know. I guess that kind of goes into with what you were saying about Megadeth and Metallica having long as shit songs.
Yeah, they're long as shit.
But, yeah, I thought that was interesting. I was like, damn, he kind of throwing some shade there.
As you should.
But, yeah, I mean, obviously, anybody that's ever fucking listened to Rain and Blood, which is probably 95% of people who would claim that they're metal fans, knows that it's a fucking game changer in the world of metal.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, I mean, that still is like, if I had to give like a top 10 what I think are like the heaviest albums of all time, that has to be on there. Like, especially for the context of when it was released, like that shit, I can't imagine.
It changed me when I listened to it. It's so fucking heavy.
Yeah, it's so good. Like,
and I was like a deathcore kid at that point. I was like, this is heavy as fuck.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's just, I don't know, it just has like that overall just fucking like chaotic atmosphere. Like, it feels like you're in fucking, I don't even know. Like, it just feels like the world is crashing.
And the fucking like, what it's about, the subject matter is fucking dark.
Yeah, which I mean, obviously was a big influence on the very soon-to-be scene of death metal coming around the corner. So, yeah, very, very important album. And it was actually the band's first release to enter Billboard 200, peaking at 94, which...
Imagine turning on your radio and just hearing, dun dun dun.
That would be fucking insane. It also received critical acclaim, with it now being on many best of all time lists, obviously. Yeah, fucking vastly, vastly important album. And it's crazy that it was on fucking Def Jam.
Yeah, that's insane.
And then next came South of Heaven on July 5th of 88, and Slayer knew that they obviously could not top Rain and Blood staying with that super breakneck speed, so they deliberately slowed things down for this release. Tom Araya also toned down his very loud and harsh screaming that he usually employed, instead doing a lot more singing this time around. The album was mostly well received, with a lot of critics praising the change in style, saying it helped keep the band fresh and was impressive for a band to experiment in such a pivotal point in their career. But fan reaction was pretty split upon release, which understandably so. I mean, they released... I mean, South of Heaven obviously isn't like a fucking... They didn't go and make a, like, Iron Maiden album. I mean, obviously no dissing to Iron Maiden, but it's not like they went, like, fucking... completely abandoning thrash. It's just more of a...
It's a more chill thrash.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you've heard the song "South of Heaven" is on there, and there's a few other good tracks on there. It's a good album, not one of my favorites, but
they physically could not get faster than Rain.
Yeah, they physically could not, but
not with concrete recording studios.
But it's now considered a classic in most eyes. Slayer themselves have been kind of critical of the album, namely King and Hanneman, with both pointing out specific songs as some of their least favorites to play live. So
makes sense.
And for their next release, Seasons in the Abyss, on October 9th of 1990, Slayer took the ferocity of Rain and Blood and mixed it with the slowness of South of Heaven. It was well received by critics and fans, with many finding the combination of the previous two albums the perfect formula for Slayer. And like I said, this is in my top 3, like fucking has War Ensemble, Dead Skin Mask. Those are like 2 of my absolute, probably, definitely top 10 Slayer songs ever. Those 2. Seasons in the Abyss is a great title track. Like, it's a really fucking good album. Love that one. And yeah, it is a really good mix of Rain and Blood and South of Heaven. But in 92, Dave Lombardo left Slayer due to conflicts with the other members, as well as wanting to spend more time at home after the birth of his first child. Understandable.
For him, understandable.
Paul Bostaff of thrash metal band Forbidden was recruited to take over his duties, and after Bostaff joined, Slayer recorded their next album, Divine Intervention, on September 27th of 1994. It received mixed to positive reviews and had the band's highest chart position at the time at number 8, but sort of feels like the odd album out in the band's career. It's definitely not too hated on, like nobody really outright hates it that I've seen, but it just kind of didn't reach the heights of the first 5 albums. It kind of felt like each of those were bringing something new to the table, and this one feels a little phoned in. Like, it's a decent album, but definitely in the lower half of their career for most people, including me. Bad production might be the reason for this, as the final result sounds really muddy and not up to par, which with even their earliest material, production-wise.
Which seems to be a plague of later thrash metal albums.
Yeah, like 90s thrash albums of like classic thrash bands, like in the 90s, a lot of them have a track record of having bad production.
Yeah, we had all those complaints about, or I did at least, about the Megadeth album we listened to, Super Collider.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I mean, I'd say like more recent shit for like classic bands has gotten better, but it was really a big thing in like 90s and 2000s when a lot of those bands were at their very low points. It just seemed to be a thing for whatever reason. I mean, it could have had to do with like changing metal trends with, I mean, we'll get to it with the fucking Diabolus and Musica, but like new metal and alt metal and stuff. Like a lot of them,
new metal.
A lot of them were probably trying to reach that production value. And
you know what? You know what made this album the best album I've ever listened to?
What?
Some rap.
Oh God.
I want Tom Araya. I'll say his name correctly for this request.
Okay.
I want Tom Araya rapping about the Holocaust.
Rapping about the Holocaust, bruh.
That's okay. You can't tell me that's not on brand.
I mean, it is on brand. It is very on brand, but could you imagine?
It'd be awful. That was a very poor joke. Please forgive me.
Please, Father, for I have sinned. But yeah, pretty much all the band members have also pointed out the poor production quality on Divine Intervention. So it's not just a fan thing there that people are complaining about. And then a cover album, just one more to go before we get to the subject that matter. Undisputed Attitude came out on May 28th of 1996.
They released a cover album?
Mm-hmm.
What'd they cover?
Punk and hardcore songs by the likes of The Stooges, Minor Threat, and they got a bunch of acronyms. TSOL, DRI, DI, Dr. No, and Verbal Abuse are the bands that they covered.
I've heard of like 2 of them.
2 of them? Stooges and Minor Threat?
Yeah. I I'm not an old school punk guy. I'm a pop punk guy. I don't care about fighting the man.
You care about getting out of this shitty hometown.
I care about eating pizza with my friends.
Bro. I mean, I fucking love both. I love pop.
I've been getting into hardcore punk recently, like the Kennedys and the likes.
The Kennedys.
The Kennedys.
The Kennedys, yeah. John, he was a good one.
John was a good punk. You know, he just did that.
Bro, he really did. But yeah, I fucking love Dead Kennedys. I mean, yeah, I've always been into older punk, but yeah, I'm not of those acronym bands. I know all of them. I've heard a few songs from all of them. But
so this isn't your favorite Slayer album?
Yeah, I've only listened to it like once. I remember it being decent.
Is it good? Yeah.
I remember it being decent, but it's their second lowest rated album.
I would have loved if they covered Holiday in Cambodia.
That would have been pretty
I think
sick.
they would have done really good at that.
Yeah, that would have been really sick. But I will say Dr. No is a very, very good band.
Oh, I have heard of Dr. No, so I've heard of 3 bands.
Yeah, they're in this weird, like, subgenre that I had never heard of till I found out about Dr. No. That was kind of... I don't even know. I think it's just really kind of like it was like a culture thing in a specific part of like California. Like it's kind of similar to skate punk. I can't even begin to remember what the genre's called. But it was just like a mini kind of micro genre thing that they're part of. And I was like, oh shit, I've never even heard about this. But I mean, if I had to categorize them, they're kind of skate punk-ish.
Okay.
But they're a really good band. They got some good shit.
Oh, yeah.
But also thrown in were 2 tracks by Jeff Hanneman for an unreleased side project of his, Pap Smear. Great name.
What the fuck? Bud. What the fuck?
Bitch and Pap Smear.
Bitch, Slayer, Pap Smear.
Fuck yeah, brother.
Best lineup.
And a Slayer original, Gemini, was on this album too.
Oh, Jim and who?
Gemini. Jim and me.
Jim and us.
Jim and we. The album received mixed reviews, with a lot of it calling it one of the weakest, if not the weakest, release of the band's career.
I mean, it's a cover album.
Yeah, exactly.
There's only so many bands that can do good cover albums. It's Big D and the Kids Table.
Yeah.
That one ska band that's nothing but covers.
Oh, Me First and the Gimme
Me First and the Gimme Gimmes. And spoiler alert for an episode we've already released, probably.
Duran.
Duran.
Newfound Glory has 2.
Glory does, yeah.
Those where they cover movie soundtrack songs.
Yeah, but most bands will do like 1 or 2 good covers, like the Punk Go series. Those are good albums because it's not just one band doing covers.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, spoiler alert. We are, which this kind of ties in with this Undisputed Attitude album. We're wanting to do a little cool idea where we're gonna cover the 2 lowest rated albums from all 4 of the big 4 and do a kind of a little mini ranking episode of those 8 albums. So let us know if Undisputed Attitude should count as an album we cover, because I'm having a hard time deciding if we should do that or Repentless. Their last album is the other lowest rated, but like it's Diabolus and Musica is lowest, then Undisputed Attitude, then Repentless, and I'm like, I don't know, like should a cover album really count for this? I don't know.
No, we'll have to think about it. You let us know.
Yeah, let us know the input for that, because I'm like, I feel like it might be easier to cover a cover album rather than the last album of their career, because when I listened to it, it was kind of just same old Slayer, but yeah, let us know, because I've been kind of debating that in my mind. So, but now we'll get to the main topic of today's episode, Diabolus and Musica, coming out on June 9th of 1988, which was obviously a time where nu metal, groove metal, and alt metal were the forefront of the scene, and bands such as Pantera, Korn, Machine Head, Fear Factory, and Deftones were reaching vast heights of popularity, and it can be assumed that Slayer saw the changing climate of the metal world and decided it was in their best interest to follow suit and stay relevant. Would you agree?
No, I think this sounds like Slayer.
Okay.
I for the most part, think this is a Slayer album.
Yeah.
Through and through.
It's just got some elements of those, I think, but
yeah,
I think people categorize it too hard as a nu metal album.
It's not nu metal.
But
I've listened to nu metal.
Yeah, exactly. Jeff Hanneman composed all but 1 song on the album, and he chose to write in mostly C-sharp. That's C-sharp, right?
Yeah, C-sharp.
Okay. C-sharp tuning.
She hashtag.
Yeah, C hashtag. C-sharp tuning, which was a first for the band. He said about the writing process, when we were writing this album, I was looking for something to beat. I wanted something to beat, but nothing impresses me right now. Nothing sounded really aggressive or heavy enough to inspire me to beat it, so I just had to come up with my own shit. Which, alright, Jeff.
Okay, okay buddy.
My name's Jeff.
His name is really Jeff.
For real. Diabolus... Oh my god, I cannot fucking talk in this episode. Diabolus and Musica received mixed reviews from critics and a very negative response from fans. Yeah, a lot of fans felt angry and betrayed about the notion of Slayer, quote-unquote, selling out to follow popular trends, something they had not done even through the grunge and alternative rock boom, when many of their contemporaries, like Metallica, Anthrax, and Exodus, had really fallen victim to that. Sarah Vowell, her last name's Vowell,
Oh.
of Spin said in a 4 out of 10 review, 15 years into Slayer's career, they're still deploying the same fast beats and sluggish riffs and batty banter, ending with, this is loudness without fun, blasphemy without subversion, darkness with no shades of grey. The drums are mic'd really well, though.
The drums are mic'd really well.
Yeah, I mean, the production on this album is really good, I think.
Ooh, I have some complaints.
You have some complaints?
I have some complaints.
I like it. I think it's good.
I have some complaints.
I think it fits the mood of the
But
album.
I am more likely to have mixing complaints than you are.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
Just like, as a recording artist,
Yeah, I've honestly really never...
I care about mixing a lot.
I mean, there's certain albums or artists that have like choices where I'm like, but for the most part, even if people on the internet are like, oh my god, like I can't listen to this because the mixing's so bad, but the songs are good.
To it.
Yeah,
I don't care if the mixing's bad, but
Yeah.
I'll know when the mixing is bad. I'll tell you.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Metal Hammer's Ian Winwood gave a 9 out of 10 review to the album, declaring it a fantastic album, remarking, it manages to combine both the sharpness of new school metal with the songwriting prowess and musical quality we've come to expect from Slayer. But it can be assumed that the band do not think highly of Diabolus and Musica themselves, with Kerry King stating in 2011 that it was his least favorite Slayer album. Also, since Dave Lombardo rejoined the band in 2002, the only song to be played from the album with any regularity was Stain of Mind. In the turn of the millennium, treated Slayer better than the mid to late 90s. Their next album, God Hates Us All, was infamously released on September 11th of 2001.
I remember, the only thing I know about this album is that.
Yeah, exactly.
And that Tom Araya had to come out and be like, I don't think God actually hates us. I just think it's a cool fucking title.
I think it's a cool fucking title.
Because he's like a devout Catholic.
He's a Catholic,
He's a devout Catholic,
which is hilarious. God Hates Us All abandoned the new metal experimentation of Diabolus in favor of the classic Slayer formula, to the appreciation of most critics and especially fans. Paul Bostaph left the band due to an elbow injury in the tour for God Hates Us All, which of course I alluded to like 2 seconds ago, and the band asked Dave Lombardo to fill in for the remainder of the tour, which turned into him rejoining Slayer permanently.
Man, imagine you like lost your, like you hurt your elbow and then you kicked out of your band.
No, he left. He left due to an elbow
Oh,
injury.
he left permanently? Yeah. He didn't just leave for the tour.
Yeah, Paul Bostaph.
Okay. I read it that he just was like, I can't do this tour, and they were like, okay, you're out of the fucking band, brother.
No, he left during the middle of the tour on his own will because his elbow, and then...
Okay, I thought he was just like, I can't do the tour anymore, and they're like,
no.
Fuck you, bucko.
No.
I wouldn't have put it past them.
Yeah. No, I think they seem like cool dudes. Well, Kerry King kind of seems like a dick, but the rest of them seem like cool dudes.
I bet Kerry King would be like, fuck you, bucko.
Fuck you, buddy. But yeah, so Dave Lombardo rejoined. But yeah, Paul Bostaph's done other shit, so maybe it was just like really, really bothering him at the time.
Yeah.
I don't know, because like I think the next year or something, he joined another band. He's also like Gene Hoglan, like he's just been in a shit ton of different thrash metal bands, never really staying with any of them for like a very, very long period of time. The result of reuniting with Lombardo was Christ Illusion, released on August 8th of 2006, and he stayed for one more album, World Painted Blood, released on November 3rd of 2009. And both of these albums are kind of along the vein of God Hates Us All, like return to classic form for Slayer. Got good reviews from critics and fans alike. But Lombardo was dismissed from the band in 2011 due to contract disputes. And then, not soon after that, Jeff Hanneman tragically passed away due from alcohol-related cirrhosis on May 2nd of 2013. He kind of spent a couple of years battling health issues stemming from a flesh-eating disease believed to have come from a spider bite.
I remember that.
Yeah, it's like he said he thinks he got it from a friend's hot tub, a spider bite.
It's fucking wild.
Yeah.
What is with fuck. I almost said Slayer. What is with thrash musicians having wild injuries?
I don't know, yeah. Fucking Megadeth Mustaine was like, oh yeah, I was in rehab and I just fucking...
I slept on my arm wrong and I have to relearn how to use it. Mm-hmm. I have permanent nerve damage.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, who knows?
Oh, I got a spider bite in my friend's hot tub and now I have a flesh-eating disease.
Yeah, that's fucking whack.
I mean, like, it's pretty metal.
Pretty fucking metal. But yeah, R.I.P. Jeff Hanneman. Fucking...
Holy fuck.
Yeah. R.I.P. Jeff Hanneman. Fucking legendary. I personally think that he's probably the most important member of Slayer because he wrote... Him and Kerry King kind of traded off writing most of the songs, but I think Kerry King's a little overrated. I think Jeff Hanneman's like...
You heard it here, folks.
I feel like a lot of people kind of, in retrospect, are like, yeah, Hanneman was way fucking better than Kerry King. Kerry King just kind of had the spotlight for whatever reason, I guess because he was bald and had a huge braided fucking beard. He kind of stood out. Where was I at? Paul Bostaph rejoined Slayer, and Gary Holt of Exodus came into the picture to take over for the loss of Hanneman. This lineup produced one final album, Repentless, which was released on September 11th, funny enough, of 2015. It was the first album to not be in association with Rick Rubin since Hell Awaits, instead being released on Nuclear Blast, which, there you go, there's a fucking old school metal label for you.
Nuclear Blast.
Repentless also reached number 4 on Billboard, which was the highest position in Slayer's career.
Wow.
On January 22nd of 2018, Slayer announced a farewell tour, which I saw them on this farewell tour. It was fucking epic.
Was it good? Yeah.
It was so fucking good. Yeah, it was them, Lamb of God, Napalm Death, Anthrax, and Testament all on the fucking show. Yeah. Me and our buddy Race went, and then we kind of... It was in an amphitheater, and we had some actual seats that were... They were fairly close, but like kind of midway back before you get to like the lawn in an amphitheater. Yeah. And yeah, as soon as Slayer was coming on, we noticed that they weren't checking tickets anymore for the pit. So we were like, dude, let's just fucking go in there. And we just walked in there like we belonged, and fucking... Yeah, we saw Slayer like 2 rows back from the fucking stage.
Hell yeah, dude.
It was fucking insane. Like, fire on pentagrams everywhere. Like, fucking... Between every song, everybody was like, fucking Slayer! It was crazy. That shit was fucking awesome. But yeah, no official reason was ever really given for them calling it quits, but it's kind of speculated it was mainly due to Tom Araya's prolonged neck issues and his desire to cease touring to
He's got a big neck.
Yeah, a lot of metal dudes have big necks. And his desire to cease touring to spend more time with his family, which, understandable. I mean, fucking... You're in one of the most influential bands of all time. Fucking retire,
you
bro. You
haven't been able to see your family since the 80s.
Yeah, fucking retire, bro. I don't blame you. But yeah.
And that brings us to today's album.
Yeah, which, holy shit, it took a long time to get through that.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, fuck. So yeah, we'll try to make it a little short and sweet for you. So, any opening thoughts for the album?
It's a good album. It's just another Slayer album. It's exactly what I expected from Slayer. Mm-hmm. It's more Slayer.
Yeah, I think it's pretty in line with a lot of their stuff, just with some of those new metal and alt metal influences creeping in here and there.
But like, if this is the worst Slayer album, Slayer's never released a bad album.
Exactly.
Fucking spoiler alert, but we are almost an hour into the episode. I can tell you that this album is good.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like, I haven't listened to every Slayer album in a long time. Like, I haven't listened to anything past this album in full in a few years, so like I couldn't tell you if this is my least favorite Slayer album, but yeah, if this is like the worst Slayer album, then fucking A, like it's a good album. Starting out with Bitter Peace,
solid opening track.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we get a pretty long instrumental to start out the song. It's like goes for about a minute and a half, and it's one of those really good like mid-tempo thrash riffs that...
Yeah, it's really sinister.
Yeah, it is. It definitely gets you into the mood of the album, the feel of the album. It's like sounds a little different from what you would expect from Slayer to me.
It's a little more groovy.
Yeah, a little more groovy, which fits in. But yeah, it's a good start. A good sinister feeling vibe to the opening track. But then after that is over with, we kind of go into normal Slayer.
Normal Slayer. I will say that the vocals, a little far back in the mix.
Oh, is that your complaint?
A little far back in the mix. Yep. Which would be fine if Tom Araya was a intelligible vocalist. But he's not. So, like, I really can't understand. I can understand a little bit of Rain and Blood. Because the vocals are mixed well.
Mm.
The vocals are so far back in here, I'm like, I don't know what you're saying. Which is why I didn't get any fucking lyrics.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I knew that there wasn't going to be any cringe lyrics in this.
I figured there wasn't going to be.
Yeah, I knew there wasn't going to be. Like, it's just fucking Slayer lyrics. Like, they are what they are. So, like, I wasn't really paying attention for that off the bat. But, so I caught some stuff as I listened to it of, like, what some of the songs were about. But, yeah, I will agree with that. Like, a lot of it was kind of unintelligible.
Yeah, there are some songs where the mixing is really good, but for the most part, it's just the vocals are buried.
And there's also some songs where it's far back and unintelligible in the mix on purpose.
Yeah, sounds like it.
For aesthetic reasons, but we'll get to that. But yeah, I mean, Bitter Peace, after that opening riff and we go into regular Slayer fare, like, this one really has no influences of nu metal to be found on this opening track.
Then we get to Death's Head, which is almost a fucking slam song.
Yeah, I could kind of see that. It starts off with, I mean, I think it's a pretty nu metal-ish opening riff. It's like diddle like with the drum and guitar interplay. Yeah,
or something like that.
Yeah, it's pretty much like that. But yeah, that bouncing opening riff with the simple and like groovy drumming kind of gives me like System of a Down vibes. Which System of a Down's first album came out the same year as this album. So
did it really?
Like, yeah.
Okay.
So like obviously Slayer wasn't like, oh, the System of a Down band is kicking ass. Let's copy them. So I
System
guess
of a Down is like, oh man, Slayer put out some really good album.
So I guess this kind of could be like proto System of a Down. Like like that opening part really was like, oh, this kind of sounds like
yeah. When we say it's nu metal, we're not talking about like Limp Bizkit nu metal.
It's like Korn, System of a Down, Deftones nu metal.
Yeah, like the metal-y nu metal, not like rap metal.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is a bit like when people are like nu metal, I think of Limp Bizkit.
Yeah, when you hear Slayer made a fucking nu metal album, yeah, you would expect like...
You're like, oh cool, Tom Araya's rapping.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, and there's a really chunky bass tone in this song. Of course, the shouting vocals that Araya does very well, and a catchy chorus that's repeated very frequently. Yeah, I think it's a good mix of classic Slayer and a little bit of nu metal influences.
Yeah.
I like this track. And then there's a great bass lead about a little over halfway through the song that the guitar picks up on and goes into a verse. And then after that, Tom Araya kind of does like a Jonathan Davis / Chino Marino type thing with like the very breathy whispered nu metal vocals.
Yeah, he does do that.
Yeah, that's like probably the most nu metal thing of this album is like the times when he does that. It's a little off-putting. It's kind of weird to hear Tom Araya do stuff like that.
But after that song, we get to Stain of Mind.
Mm-hmm,
did I write that down right? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I was like, did I write that down right? This song is really jammy.
Yeah, this one's a good one too, and I guess it's the most popular song from the album since it's the only one that said they played with any regularity.
That makes sense. But it makes me want to be one of those guys in the back of a metal venue that's just fucking bobbing his head.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a good one. It kind of gives me the feel of, Roots, Bloody Roots by Sepultura.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of gives me those vibes. Like, it has, like, that Brazilian-sounding drum pattern that Sepultura employed with that album in their sound, where it's, like, the kind of tribal-esque drum patterns. Like, I mean, I don't really know how to fucking describe how tribal drums sound, but when I hear it, I was like, oh shit, like, I'm kind of getting that vibe from it, which, I mean, that could have probably was a deliberate choice, because I think that album came out in, like, 96. So Slayer was like, oh shit, this other classic thrash band is starting to do this new metal thing. Like, let's get a little inspiration from that.
Yeah, probably something like that.
Yeah, and it has like a really good ascending guitar riff that kind of fits in with that, like that new metal vibe.
Yeah, and this is another new metal-y song.
Yeah, but I really like this one too.
But also, you can listen to this entire album without making new metal connections. Like the first time I listened to it, I didn't know about the whole new metal thing.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, oh, this is just a good thrash album.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. Yeah, you kind of have to. I say other than that weird whispery vocal shit that is done a few times, like the other new metal influences, you kind of have to hunt for a little bit. Like, if you listen to this and just went into it, you'd be like, okay, it's fucking Slayer. What else can you say?
Yeah, the bridge of State of Mind is Slam again.
Yeah, I never even, until you're saying that, I never really even thought about that. There is a lot of, I guess it's like that ascending guitar riff, like that Slam does a lot. They do it a lot.
I didn't listen to Slam except for one local Slam band.
Yeah, I'm not a Slam guy, but I've heard a decent amount. I mean, by decent amount, I mean probably like a handful of songs from like 3 or 4 different Slam bands. But Suffocation, they're like the godfathers of Slam, but they're kind of don't give a fuck. Oh God, sidetrack. Did you hear Ronnie Falling in Reverse's fucking version of? Yeah. God, it was so bad.
Yeah.
But back on track. Suffocation. I mean, they're really just like a brutal death metal band, but they were the very beginnings of Slam as found in Suffocation, and maybe Slayer got some inspiration from them, because a lot of their shit, I can kind of see now that you say that there is like a lot of Slam influences seemingly throughout.
Yeah, so after that we get to Overt Enemy, which starts off with this weird like whisper talking.
Yeah, it's pretty...
It's kind of uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to tell what they're saying, but to me it kind of sounds like a newscast of something.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And then the rest of the song is just bland. Yeah,
I feel like this one kind of is going for more of a alt metal, like kind of sludge stoner metal feel.
Yeah, I don't like sludge or stoner metal.
Yeah, me either. It's like just a really...
If I don't listen to music while smoking weed, it's not going to be metal.
Yeah, it's just like a really slow and trudging riff, plays for about 3 minutes. It's just like dun 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 for 3 fucking minutes.
How low.
And then Araya, his vocals on top of it are kind of intentionally compressed and muddy sounding. Mm-hmm. Kind of sounds like he's singing through a box fan.
But you can tell it's on purpose this time. So the vocals are mixed well.
Yeah, it's on purpose this time. And there's kind of some variations within the first 3 minutes with like a double bass section and a brief guitar solo. But it actually stays within that formula for over half of the song until we get another mini solo, and then it kind of leads into a thrashy classic Slayer riff to close out the song.
I didn't put it on every song, but pretty much every song has a killer solo in it.
Yeah, I mean...
It's Slayer.
Yeah, what the fuck? I mean, it's thrash metal.
It's Carrie fucking King.
Even the shittiest thrash metal song will most likely have a really good solo.
Yeah, that's one thing. Thrash is really good at solos.
Yeah, it's like they could be terrible songwriters, but they'll fucking shred it out for the one solo in the song.
So after that we get to Perversions of Pain, which once again starts off as a Slam song. I'm starting to think this is just a proto-Slam album.
Proto-Slam.
Number 15, Burger King Proto-Slam.
Burger King Proto-Slam. The last thing you want on your Burger King burger is some Slam metal.
But yeah, then it just goes into what you'd expect from Slayer after it's slammy for a bit.
Yeah, it's pretty standard fare for them. Pretty formulaic. The pre-solo riff around the 130 mark is very, very reminiscent of the Angel of Death opening riff.
Yeah.
It's like dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I heard it before, but like all thrash kind of sounds similar.
Yeah.
To a point.
Yeah, to a point. Like I feel like there's a few different ways you can go about a thrash riff, and then in those few different ways, like stuff can kind of sound a little similar.
Like, it's the same with fucking metalcore.
I mean,
how many times did people write fucking
the Waking the Fallen riff? Or Unholy Confessions.
Unholy Confessions.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, this one it pretty much sounds exactly like the Angel of Death opening riff, and then after a solo later on in the song, there's a bridge part that sounds to me like if you took both of the choruses of South of Heaven and Dead Skin Mask and combine them, like, it literally sounds exactly like that. Like, it's pretty formulaic song. Other than the familiar parts, I mean, it's a decent song, though, but probably the most mid song on the album.
Yeah. Okay, so next is Love to Hate, which I think is the most sinister intro on the album.
Okay, I really don't remember.
I don't remember it now either, but...
Okay.
Spoiler alert, it's been a little while since we've listened to this album. We had some things come up, so we didn't get to record when we wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
I meant to re-listen to it, but I just fucking haven't.
I did at the very end of work today, so it would be like the last piece of music on my mind, but I mean, even then, like, it's, like you said, it's thrash metal, which, I mean, any genre can get to where you're like, oh, like, kind of...
Thrash metal especially is like, every song kind of blends into itself.
Yeah, especially in, like, not like mediocre, but the not like greatest ever albums, or like my favorites. Like if I'm like, okay, this is good, like this album, like I'm like, this is good, but it's like not a lot is like very, very fucking memorable.
Yeah, when I was trying to get notes for this album, I'd listened to it like 4 times without notes,
Mm-hmm.
Because I was just listening to it to and from the way to work, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna sit down and get notes tonight because I don't have anything else to do, because I had a busy week when I was getting ready for this one. And I accidentally had it on shuffle and didn't realize.
You probably didn't even... Yeah, just like...
I didn't realize until the song that wasn't on this album played, and I was like, oh, fuck.
Damn.
Luckily it was on Smart Shuffle, so it was just like 2 songs and then it played another song.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that's weird.
Yeah, okay. Love to Hate, sinister intro. Yeah, I don't remember, because I think that this is the least interesting song on the album.
This is basically a hardcore song.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
Like, I was listening to this, I work with my roommate, so I was like, I've been driving him to work.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, I thought you didn't like hardcore. I'm like, I fucking don't. This is Slayer.
Bruh. Interesting. Yeah, it's just kind of... It starts mid-tempo and ends mid-tempo, and Tom Araya really just shouts in the same key and cadence the entire runtime of the song. Like,
yeah. It's a little... There's a dark riff around the 1 minute mark that makes me want to start crowd killing.
Okay.
But other than that, it's just another song on the album.
Yeah, this one, there's really nothing stand out about it for me. Then we go into Desire, which is, I would say, the most nu metal song on the album, because the verses go for, again, like the Korn, Deftones, whisper vocal type shit, type beat. And it's just really bizarre to hear Tom Araya doing this vocal style. I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. Like, I don't hate it, it's just...
It's weird.
It's just weird, yeah. The chorus, though, is more akin to what we're used to from Slayer.
Yeah, it's blistering and dark.
Yeah, and then, of course, the solo is always good from Slayer. But
the verses in this song are kind of doomy.
Okay.
They're very, like, slow and, like, methodical.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's weird.
Some doomies.
Little doomies.
But yeah, overall, another one that's just kind of, like, at this point, it's just, those 2 songs are just kind of like...
They're just kind of there.
Yeah, they're just kind of
Same
there.
with the next song. Honestly, In the Name of God, it doesn't do anything new.
Okay.
It's just another thrash song on the album. It's good.
Okay. I actually really like this song.
Okay.
This ended up being one of my favorites. I'll agree with you on the first 2 listens. It was in the same camp as the previous 2 songs, where I was just like, this is kind of just here. But I don't know. It's kind of grew on me. Because it starts out pretty mid-tempo and has like a layering effect on the vocals. He's like, I want to invite you. Like, he kind of has
Hello, me.
Meet the real me. Yeah, he kind of has like a weird cadence to his vocals that I never really heard from Slayer that I can recall. And yeah, it's layered where somebody, I don't know if it's him, but somebody's like just kind of talking the same words very low under it. Which that part kind of grew on me, and it's like kind of a really groovy verse part. And then it starts to really like pick up the intensity a lot in the last quarter or so of the song. He starts shouting Antichrist in the name of God, which leads to like a really good breakdown in the last 45 seconds of the song.
There is a really good breakdown.
Yeah, it's like a really, really cool breakdown. It starts out as just your regular breakdown, but then it kind of brings in like that chaotic and hellish twin guitar attack that Slayer's known for, where Hanneman and King just kind of start fucking...
They're dueling.
Yeah, they just start like doing random shit that you would hear on like Rain and Blood, where it's just like the chaotic fucking guitar.
Yeah.
where it's just like
they're really good at chaos.
Yeah, it's like they're both just doing chaotic, wacky, fucking high pitched solos all over the place in the last bit to close the song. And it ended up making a standout track in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
I really liked it.
It didn't do anything for me, but I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, it was the only one, like, my other standout tracks that we'll get to, like, right off the bat, I was like, these are some of my favorites, but this one was a grower for me, so...
It's on the shower.
It's not a shower.
Then we get to Scrum, which is not only the worst song name on the album, but it's the shortest song on the album, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
I think it's like
just over 2 minutes.
Just over 2 minutes, like 2:12.
Something
For some reason, my brain was like, it's a minute 58.
Close enough.
It's not long. It is just more thrash.
Yeah, it's really probably the most straightforward song on the album.
Yeah, there's a really cool post-verse riff and a pre-verse section that kind of rips.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good, like, fast ripper.
It's a good thrash song.
Yeah, good ripper, fast thrash song, but it's nothing really noteworthy for me.
Yeah.
Really, all I got is that it's the shortest.
Like most of the albums we listen to, the back half of it's not as good as the front half.
Yeah, exactly. That's really a recurring theme.
Which is weird.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like that's not again, good albums is not like that. A good album's usually the back half's really the better shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That would be an interesting little bonus episode. Get some
back half versus front halves.
Yeah, get some like examples of like classic or some of our favorite albums
and see if the back half's better than the front half.
Yeah, see if they're back or front loaded. I've seen people doing that on TikTok and shit. Like they'll be like, you know, the thing where they'll have like the pictures next to their head and they like lean to the side for which one they choose. I've seen that for like backloaded and front loaded albums. Like it'll bring an album up and they're like, oh, and lean to which one.
Yeah. That'd be a really interesting metric to, especially, we might have to go back and figure out what albums we've listened to, which ones are backloaded, which ones are front-loaded.
Yeah.
The only front-loaded or backloaded one I can think of is Attila.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that one was a very consistent one.
It was just loaded.
It was loaded.
But then we get to Screaming in the Sky, which is a very groovy song.
Mm-hmm.
But it also only has the one riff, the entire fucking song.
Yeah. Yeah, it really does.
It had such a, it could have been such a good song, but it just keeps doing the same riff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it kind of sounds like it could have been from, like, the South of Heaven or Seasons in the Abyss era of Slayer to me. It's more, like, slow-paced and low-key. But yeah, it's, like you said, it's really just the same riff for most of the song. And then there's, like, this one part in kind of a bridge section where... I guess it's Tom Araya sings in like this really weird low-pitched voice. Like, it's not the like whispery thing that he's done in the album. It's just like this really weird voicey. Like I don't know. Did you not catch that?
Mm-mm.
It's just like he's actually like singing, but he's singing like this. Like I don't know. It's
weird.
It's very weird. I was like, okay, don't really know why that choice was made, but all right.
And then we get to the last album song.
The last album.
Point. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Once these song names are so fucking stupid. Like, am I right?
Point.
Did I fuck up? Point. The main riff for this song is sinister.
Very sinister.
This honestly sounds more like a Megadeth song than a Slayer song.
Okay. Yeah, I think this one doesn't really have any nu metal influence. I think it's pretty standard fare for Slayer, but okay.
It's a little hardcore.
You think it sounds a little Megadeth?
It's a little like Megadeth hardcore.
Megadeth meets hardcore? Okay.
Megacore.
Yeah,
Death Dave.
Death Dave. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of generic, I think.
Yeah.
Not really a noteworthy song to close out the album with. Like, it's alright. I'd say the only thing that I really, that caught my attention about it was... There's like 2 separate times in the song where it sounds like it comes to a conclusion and then it just awkwardly continues.
Which is that seems to like be a big thing in bad albums too.
Yeah, like it's not like an overly long song. Like I think it's just about like around 4 minutes, but it was just really weird. Like multiple times, it just everything kind of stopped for like half a second. And I was like, okay, that's the end of the album. Then it would just start back up with a different riff or something, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Kind of odd. Yeah, I think just the back half of the album being, for the most part, kind of very, very same, also played into that. Because like, okay, this shit's ending, and it's like, oh no, going on still.
Yep. So favorite songs.
Mine are definitely Bitter Peace, Death's Hand, Stain of Mind, and In the Name of God.
Mine, Bitter Peace, Death Hands, and honestly, Perversions of Pain.
Okay. My least favorites are Love to Hate. Well, I'll say Love to Hate and Desire are like the two that I really don't like, and then I wanted to give 3, so I put Screaming from the Sky. That's probably just like one of the more mid songs on the album.
Mine is in the Point, Screaming from the Sky, and Scrum.
Okay.
So the last 3 songs in the album. Because at that point I was like, man, I really want this to be over with.
Yeah. So yeah, overall, yeah, like we said, we don't have any lyrics, because I mean, it's really
it's just Slayer.
It's Slayer
it's
lyrics.
What you expect from Slayer.
Yeah, exactly. But from 4,009 ratings on Rate Your Music, the album holds a 2.63 out of 5.
So that's a 5.26?
I guess.
So
I'll go with that.
It's a little low.
Yeah, I mean, it's really not. It's one of the better ratings we've seen for this podcast. But like I said, the main reason we're doing this is to do that little ranking of the quote unquote worst albums from the Big Four.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I give it a 8.2.
Okay, that's honestly higher than I was expecting.
It's a good album.
I mean,
I would listen to it again.
I'll agree. It is a good album. It's a little hard for me to rank because I'm like, I mean, I know it really doesn't matter in the context of this podcast, but I'm like, if I give it a fucking 8 or something, I'm like, my favorite, like the best Slayer albums are all like 9.5 and 10, so I'm like, fuck, that feels like too close to them, and because it's like, it's definitely not up to par with the best Slayer, but it's like, I still really like it.
Hey, Alex, just remember, these are just numbers. They don't mean anything.
Yeah, they don't mean anything.
I have probably contradicted myself by giving an album I hate a fucking higher rating than an album I liked.
Yeah, I know. I kind of fucked myself with the Duran Duran cover album. I think I gave it a 7.5, and afterwards I was like, that was a little too high. Like, I definitely enjoyed it, but I was like, 7.5? I probably should have gone with like a 6.
I don't even remember what I gave that one. I think it was like a 9.
No, I think I thought we both gave it.
Maybe we did both give it a 7.5.
I think we did.
I don't know, but like, I don't fucking care if I contradict myself. I contradict myself. It's a podcast. You're here to listen to us talk.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, if you're keeping track of these stats.
Which I think we've asked our listeners to do that. So
let's do. That's why I gave you a little clap.
Keep track of them. A little golf clap for you. If I get it, I'll give it a, what'd you say, 8.2?
8.2.
8.1999.
Okay.
That's what I give it.
Okay.
But no, seriously, like, it's a good album. I mean, it's really, I mean, it's pretty shit on, like, reading the, like, fan reviews, I guess you could say, on Rate Your Music. Like, a lot of people were like, absolutely embarrassing from Slayer, like, why the fuck were they trying to be a nu metal band, all this shit, and it's really...
It's barely nu metal.
It's really, yeah, it's really a Slayer album with little sprinkles of nu metal and alt metal and groove metal.
There's obviously some, like, influences from alt, groove, and nu metal, but that's what a good band does, is they change their sound.
Yeah, exactly. Like...
They probably just really liked nu metal.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, honestly...
I can see Tom Araya getting down to some Korn.
I mean, yeah, I could too. They toured with System of a Down for this album. They were their support.
Hell yeah. So yeah, like, they probably just really liked the music and were like, I really want to incorporate some of this shit.
Yeah, which, I mean, I guess that goes against what Jeff Hanneman was saying. He was like, nothing sounded like it could be beat, so I just made my own thing. I don't know about that, buddy.
Okay, Boomer.
R.I.P. Boomer. But I don't know about that one, buddy. But, yeah, I mean, I really don't see, like, everybody's... I mean, I'm not going to say everybody's, because it does have some positive reviews from critics and shit. And it's not like Hell does one of the worst fucking things ever made, like some stuff we covered recently, but just the hatred for Slayer fans for this album, like, I just don't get it. I even saw, it was funny, like, about a week before because we knew that we were going to do this one, you know, we kind of scheduled it in advance. I saw a post on Reddit where somebody was like, got this album on vinyl for their uncle or something. They were like, this is the only Slayer album he doesn't have on vinyl, and like I've never seen it anywhere, and I found it at a record store, and I'm so happy to help him finish his collection because they're his favorite band. And like all the comments were like, dude, this album fucking sucks, he might as well not have it anyways, fuck this album, like all this shit. And I was like damn, this man's just happy to help his uncle complete his collection, and they're just like, fuck this album. I mean, that's Reddit for you, but I was just like, damn.
Reddit and Slayer fans.
Yeah, I was like, damn.
Two of the worst communities.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell? This album, like, I mean, at the time, I didn't know that I would think it was good, but I was like, even then, like, damn.
Like, it's a Slayer album, how bad can it be?
Yeah, like,
that's how we went into this, was like, it's a Slayer album, how bad can it be?
Yeah, exactly. But, yeah, so, I mean, it definitely deserves
it deserves another breath. We will see you next time with what might be the highest rated album we'll ever cover.
Yeah, probably. Now that you say that, yeah, I think it probably will be.
Alrighty, see you next week.
See ya.